Hey strangers, it's Crystal here. I was just finally getting around to making my first official video as one of y'all. And I figured that my first video would be a good one to talk about what inspired me to drive across the country. Now, as much as I love open roads and endless hours of nothingness, as I have recorded here for you, I did not go for scenery. Although I did get some amazing pictures along the way, and I had a really fun time driving with my little girl. She is 10 months old, and she is a bundle of joy, to say the least, and you'll get to see her here at the end. But my story is more about my dear friend and much, much more, Jeremy, which y'all already know because he's been a stranger far longer than I have. So we had gone to school together back forever ago, and we had dated, and it was amazing. Like, I loved every minute of it. But, you know, life happens, people move away, and as a 16-year-old, I was not mature enough, and I did not feel ready to have a committed long-distance relationship. It was just really bad timing overall. Between him moving away and I was going through like a ton of stuff medically and emotionally, and I did eventually get diagnosed with PTSD, and it's all kinds of craziness. So I went years and years without talking to him. Like, I never forgot about him, because you never really forget about your first love. But I did go a very long time without speaking with him, and I got married, and it was a really bad situation. Like, really bad. I ended up getting a divorce, and I got introduced to this wonderful thing called polyamory, and I was just like, oh my God, where was this back in the day? Because I actually had been in a quote-unquote polyamorous relationship back in high school, but it was not, like, talked about. It was still super taboo, and all of my friends were like, what are you doing? People don't do that. And come to find out, as an adult, almost a decade later, actually, yeah, they do. And it has a name. And it was like this aha moment. It was so wonderful. But when I first heard about it, I ran to my husband. I'm just like, did you know that people actually do this? Like, that's not totally crazy. And he's like, well, yeah. Do you mind if I have a girlfriend? And so I was like, yeah, sure, let's try it out. And honestly, like, it worked out pretty well. Like, there was a lot of emotional side to it, being introduced to it, going like straight from monogamous to a polyamorous relationship in about 3 weeks after I had heard about it. But it wasn't too bad. They ended up breaking up, and it was kind of a mess, but he still had me. He was abusive. It was crazy, and I ended up divorcing him too, but that's neither here nor there. Once I left him, though, I ended up finding this couple and hooking up with them and loving it, and we ended up moving in together. And she had a son, and then I had a daughter, both with the same guy. And it's just been really amazing. And I really hit that point of, there's daily life stuff that I wish, I wish rent wasn't so much, or I wish my job wasn't so hard. But I literally felt so fulfilled in my personal life that I couldn't imagine being any happier with it. And then all of a sudden, back in the very end of December, I get this message from Jeremy on my Facebook account, and I'm just like, oh, that's weird. What do I do with it? And I freaked out a little bit. Like, I legitimately didn't know how to respond to it, because I knew that I had never really gotten over him, but I was in such a good place in my relationship that I did not want to risk jeopardizing that. And I'm just like, I really want to know where he is and how he's been, because he was a really good guy. He was a really good friend. It was probably one of my healthiest relationships back in the day. And honestly, probably one of my healthiest relationships, other barring the ones that I already am currently in. So I talked to my partners, and I was just like, well, what do you think? And they're like, oh, it won't hurt. Like, you can talk to him, just keep us updated. Because one of the biggest things in polyamory is keeping that open line of communication. And so I talked to him, and I talked to him, and we talked some more. And it became very evident that I may not still be in love with the Jeremy that I knew back in high school, but I am in love again with the man that he has become. And we have gone in such completely different directions, and somehow, miraculously, have ended up in the same, mental place, if that makes sense. I really, really do love him. And after us talking for several months, I was just like, you know what? This feels too good to be true. But let's go see. Let's find out. Let's see if this is the real deal. And so I planned and I plotted and called up his wife. It was just like, okay, let's make this work. And let's surprise him, because I like surprises and being sneaky, and watching that expression on people's face really just, I love it. It's so much fun, and I really wanted to see what it was like in person, because someone can pretend to be all fantastic online. They can pretend to be whatever, but in person is so much different, and you're never gonna know what that chemistry is gonna be like until you're there in person. So I drove and I drove and I drove, and he happens to live nearby some of my family anyway that I haven't seen in like a decade. So I stopped in, said hi to them, and this is the clip. This is where he first comes up, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like sitting here like, okay, when is he gonna notice me? You can see, he kind of glances there.
Oh my god. Hi, you.
And now I'm bald, so the camera view does not really do well.
You guys are evil.
Evil is choosing this outfit. So that's us cuddling afterwards. He was so excited, and I'm really glad that I have gotten to come and get to know him in person, and I really am glad to watch him not only get along with me, but my child.
Is it time? Is it time? Is it time for a do?
All in all, it has been an amazing trip. It really has.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really hope that I get the opportunity to come and spend more time with Jeremy and his family, and eventually I really hope that he gets to come spend some time with mine, because they are just as amazing. So until next time, be awesome.